Игрушку, кстати, там по подписке раздавали, я так и не поиграл. Можно было допереть еще зайти.
Какую?
Trails Racing.
А, вот эти гоночки.
На мотиках, да. Тут два бородатых мужика друг друга утками стрелялись.
Так, надо как-то проверить.
Какая-то гиг-трасса опять появилась в игре.
A giga track is like life. It starts and it ends and it's long. Depends how you enjoy it. And also one
Что за... Просто по катушке типа трюки делать или что?
Ну да, эту трассу должен проехать. Есть разные пути, как я понял. Это типа трасса какая-то, которая прям огромная, длинная. Вначале говорили, типа мы вернули вот это гигатрасса. Нет, друг играл, сезон 6 какой-то.
You heard that right, the Giga Track is coming to the game and it will be the longest, most insane track in Trials history and it will be free for all Trials Rising players.
Последнее обновление
Now
игры
for our
будет.
last game update, the Ghost Recon Breakpoint team is ready to share some details on their upcoming updates.
О, Ghost Recon,
AI
конечно,
teammates
да.
are coming to the game. Let's have a look at the trailer.
The time has come.
Они еще пытаются ее вытащить.
Я помню, мелком еще играл какую-то Ghost Recon.
They're gonna be a game changer. Available at any point after you have reached Erewhon for the first time, Fury, Fix-It, and Vasily can be activated or dismissed at will. And from the beginning,
Причем Василий какой-то китаец, блядь.
This customization includes all of the physical
Украинец.
attributes, as well as gear, equipment, or even full costumes. Your teammates can be tweaked just as much as your main character. Just like Nomad, your teammates will adapt and react to the world of Aroa and its environments, and they will always follow your own behavior. If you decide to go stealth, they will equip silencers and crouch, or go prone when possible. But if you decide to go loud and open fire, they will stick by your side. When deployed, you can issue different orders to your teammates through the order wheel. There are 4 different orders you can
Они
give
ж
to your
вводят этих,
teammates.
типа
You can tell
искусственных,
them to
ну
regroup
короче,
on your
напарников
location,
компьютерных.
to hold their current position, to go to a specific location, and to open fire on nearby enemies. These orders can be given at any time, even through your binoculars and drone. Once they approach potential threats, the teammates will notify you and mark them automatically.
Got a hostile.
With a good look at your enemies, you will be able to set up a sync shot where each of your teammates picks a target. You can even link it to your 3 sync shot drones for a simultaneous 7-target takedown. The teammates have weapons equipped at all times, a versatile assault rifle to accommodate all situations, and a primary weapon that you will be able to fine-tune. Indeed, apart from mark upgrades and passive bonuses, the full gunsmith is accessible to your teammates, and their weapon of choice will have a direct effect on the battleground. Depending on the type of weapon they have equipped, the teammates will adapt their engagement distance.
Может там
and
стоит
rate of
зачитывать
fire.
субтитры?
From close distance shotgun wielding
С ума
all
сошел.
the way to long distance sniper shots.
Так хотя бы интереснее
Of course,
будет.
if you get taken
Разумеется,
down, your
бла-бла-бла, я не
teammates'
успею, я не буду
priority will be to
успевать.
try and rescue you. To achieve that, they will first focus their fire on the surrounding enemies before getting to you. And they will expect the same from you, especially as you will be able to carry them to safety if the situation requires it. Finally, the
Интересно.
teammates will also be your best allies in
А
any
только в игре
vehicle,
делать нихер.
especially on the road and during high-stake pursuits. The teammates will be available for all solo Ghost
15
Recon
июля
Breakpoint
можно
players on
ваши
July 15th,
впечатления.
and we cannot wait to see your
До встречи
reactions.
в бою,
We'll see you on
призраки.
the battlefield, Ghosts.
Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Это которая новая вышла?
Да, это которая после Wildlands была.
Hey Ghosts, I'm Grace from the Ghost Recon team.
О,
As
господи.
you've just seen, the AI teammates are finally landing in Ghost Recon Breakpoint with our next major update on July 15th. Alongside the AI teammates, this update comes with a ton of new content, including a gunsmith upgrade,
Новые
new PvP
возможности.
content, quality of
Что за
life
кузница?
updates, and more. You will be able
Потому
to
что
try it
можно
all
оружие
during our
ковать.
next free weekend from July 16th to July
Мечи.
20th. But that's not all. We've got one last thing to show you. Enjoy, and
Какой-то
we'll see you on
Skyrim
our roller
получается,
coaster.
по-моему. Блин, я нигде не залогинен.
Это что такое? Интерсел. Бля.
Да нет, это, наверное, на...
А, это тот брейкпоинт.
Да.
Геймплейный трейлер показывать. Так, машинки пластиковые выглядят.
Езда такая же, пластиковая.
А, это вот режим онлайн.
Что этот, типа, как он называется-то? Ой-ой-ой, там... Там.
This distance live event. А, ивент какой-то будет. А, ну ладно.
And now our very final video for this pre-show is another episode of our wow moments comparing the craziest and coolest clips from you,
О,
our
что тут
players.
показывать?
Я забыл открыть чатик. Если кто-то что-то писал, то сорян.
О, в стипе. Оу. Бля, я в стип много катался. Классная игрушка.
Тут есть классные звуки хруста костей, когда ты падаешь.
А, да. О, такая часть.
Что, какие-то крутые штуки от стримеров или что?
Нет, от обычных игроков. Какие-то моменты.
А,
О, Valhalla.
это что? Это Супер Смэш для...
О, Rainbow Радуга. Мне просил допросить.
Да простите, у вас ссылки перепутанные. Чёркин, Кошкин, да, спасибо.
The Crew 2. Ого. Вау. Ну да. For Honor.
Какой-то козел перепутал ссылки. Мне интересно, кто-нибудь в этот For Honor еще играет.
So there's a line that people want me to yell,
О, ТикТок.
but I can't usually
Я
do
ТикТок
it
скачал
because
недавно.
I'll freak out my neighbors.
Все, пока.
But, as you can see,
Да там...
with the
Да,
crash
Я
emotion version,
не хочу разговаривать после этого.
so,
да я там не пользуюсь особо.
someone told me.
Да, все понятно. Нихера себе он накосил.
Ногами играю.
В смысле, он что, руками играет на настоящий, а ногами на... Что это было сейчас?
Это были корейцы.
Больные.
also have amazing gameplay segments you captured from our
Для
games.
них это норма.
Spread the joy and submit them on the link displayed on your screen right now. All right, guys, it is time for us
Так,
to wrap up this
ссылки надо
pre-show.
поправить.
Don't forget to stay tuned for our post-show featuring a deep dive into the world of Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Thanks a lot for watching this pre-show and enjoy Ubisoft Forward.
Открой опять чат.
Чё?
Чат открой себе.
Блин, давно пора, я что-то не открыл и... This is Ubisoft.
Сейчас Ubisoft солидно работает. Делают боксы только и собирают.
Качество картинки FPS.
Hi everyone, I'm Neelam Kumar and I'm very excited to be co-hosting the first Ubisoft Forward
Сейчас,
with the
секунду.
talented Yusuf Mageed. Today's show is all about getting up close and in depth with all the exciting games we have in production here at Ubisoft.
I'm Yusuf, but there's no time to waste. So let's head straight for the streets of futuristic London
Witch Dogs.
and see what the hackers of DedSec are getting into.
The illegal paintings spreading subversive and hostile messaging over the last few weeks across London are not the work of several people as was originally believed, but the work of an individual. The criminals...
Блин, а что с FPS, правда?
Это у них, походу, что-то.
Нет, это у меня что-то.
У меня 1080 и очень плохая.
В нем почему-то 27 кадров. Я не пойму почему. 26. Это странная беда.
Then they came for the protesters. I did not speak out because I was not a protester. Then they came for the journalists, and I did not speak out because I was not a journalist. And then they came for street artists.
Вот так, по идее, должно лучше стать. Ну, по крайней мере, показывает 30-ку стабильную. А то, что сыпется, это да, это в оригинале. Почему-то у них на пикселе. Подожди, это Легион показывает?
Да.
Я все пропустил с этими настройками.
Прямо выглядит красиво.
Да, ну это ж не геймплейный.
And I realized that eventually they'd come for me, and there would be no one left to speak for me.
Что происходит?
Это... Ну, она только что от полиции убегала. Прям от серьезной полиции. Там дроны какие-то, механизированные копы, робокопы какие-то. Прям будущее туристическое.
Welcome to the Resistance. Here's a welcome gift for our new members.
But the disappearance of the criminal...
You could have told me it was a bloody
Прикольно.
party.
Try it on.
The new key suspect has been identified as David Ford, a 43-year-old London taxi driver.
Человек-паук через вселенную. Да, похоже.
People have been asked not to approach him. The authorities advise all residents...
На самом деле рисовка похожа на в этом «Любовь, смерть, роботы». Там была одна серия про китаянку. Прям один в один вообще.
Clint has been a long-time creative force here at Ubisoft, and now he's bringing this vision to Watch Dogs Legion.
Как я понял, типа,
So yeah, what we just saw was an amazing short film by the director Alberto Mielgo
Тебе погромче надо говорить.
was inspired
Я
by
не могу
Watch
тебя
Dogs Legion
накрутить.
and looks at the game and the
Говорю, как я понял, если ты с
universe
кем-то взаимодействуешь в мире, то типа он в банду вступает.
Ну, что-то типа того, да. Но они говорили, что надо будет вербовать кого-то. Ну, таких самых, типа, важных.
Setting aside their differences in order to come together as a collective and to fight for a positive change.
You can literally recruit and play anyone who you see in the open world. You profile people that are interesting to you. You help them with their problem. You play their origin mission.
Just help me get some closure, and I'll do whatever you want.
Sounds like a DedSec problem.
Что у него
Leave it to us.
на этой, на кофте?
Into your team, and then they become the
Да-да-да,
heroes of
где
the game
бегала от
and the
этого,
stars
от
of the
мужика.
story.
And what are you doing in my flat? You with Albion?
Please, think more underground.
You with Albion?
I'm tickled, but I think
Бабка.
more underground.
What, DedSec? Yeah, right, and I'm Che Guevara. You're done.
У меня
And they make the story not only, you know, unique to them,
опаздывает.
but unique to you as the
Опаздывает на
player
пару
and
секунд.
personal to you because they're, you know, heroes that you've
Все
chosen.
наоборот
and
было
invested in.
изначально.
What would I say to fans? I guess I'd say,
Теперь
you
я
know,
стою.
take care of yourselves, stay safe. Welcome to the Resistance.
Our London town. A modern metropolis.
О, геймплейный
built on
трейлер начали
history
показывать
and
мне.
prosperity. Only took 12,000 years to build it up, and one night to tear it all down.
Как-то выглядит такси.
Oh my god. Listen up. Get all your units to move in and lock down the city.
With London under attack by a mysterious terrorist, the government turns to a private military company called Albion to keep everyone safe. What could possibly go wrong? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nigel Cass, CEO of Albion. He's kindly stepped up to establish order.
Understand this. I will not allow anyone, not even myself, to jeopardize this.
He will stop at nothing to permanently control the city.
London will be the first city in the world to be made truly safe.
Nigel's not the only opportunist who's taken a liking to this fair city. Meet Mary Kelly, head of the most powerful crime syndicate in London.
Be sure and spread the word.
Глава самого
Are using the dark web
мощного
to sell
синдиката
everything,
в
from
Лондоне.
party pills to people.
Тут какие-то группировки еще будут.
I know, but I got to keep tracks on my merchandise, don't I?
You made me a slave.
You do not want to ruffle her feathers.
Ничего себе, контузила.
With the city out on its arse, it now falls on you to build a resistance and take back London.
All right, everyone. Faces on, guns out.
Any of the brave Londoners you see walking the streets can be recruited into your team. Like him. Her. Or even her. Everyone could become your next secret weapon. In our first mission, we need to get some dirt on Nigel Cass, and that means breaking into Albion headquarters inside the Tower of London. All the hardy souls you see here are people we have recruited from the streets of London. They all have unique abilities, and you're free to tackle this mission with whoever you like.
Мы тоже рассказывали, что у них будут разные обилки. Ты отвалился или...
Нет, это тут.
Все, я понял.
Интересно, насколько много их.
Да, вот хер знает.
Насколько они разнообразные будут.
Ну, наверное, будут там несколько классов, типа, не знаю, рукопашный бой, стрелок, там еще какая-нибудь херня. Инженер сраный, типа кататься на этих штуках.
Perfect for gate crashing when you're not invited. And who needs a regular old gun when you have a bloody nail gun?
Бля, Басвомет.
Угу.
Jesus Christ, what is that thing?
Perhaps we could approach
Cyberpunk
this mission
Potato Mod.
differently. If you'd rather keep your distance, we've got you covered. Amy is a drone expert.
А, ну вот, видишь, дрон-эксперт.
What have we here?
A real tech connoisseur.
Наверное, будут там штук 5 классов. А модельки просто разные.
Here we are. Let's class the place up.
A drone expert does have the unique ability to summon their own drone. This little darling is fast and stealthy.
She aims, she fires, she hits.
I'm reading incoming drones.
She can also hack enemy drones, turning the tide in her favor. And if you are not into direct confrontation, there are more ways than one to get the job done. Recruiting an Albion officer like Brielle here might be challenging, but it'll get you inside restricted Albion areas.
Don't mind me, just doing recon for a bunch of insurgents.
Это типа бывший работник этой организации, можно быть просто так ходить.
Ну да, скрытный путь какой-то.
Да, на скрытный путь там вроде есть какой-то типа... Как он называется?
Возможно, из-за этого класса типа нельзя попадаться высоким шишкам каким-то.
Да, наверное, так и есть.
Потому что они типа узнают, что тебя нету.
Threatening our families. The police commissioner himself. Assassinated by terrorists.
Well, that seems to be enough evidence. Next up, we're crashing Mary Kelly's organ farming operation and putting a stop to it.
That's good. The buyers expect high quality stuff.
And we need a hard nut for this.
Impairing our frontal lobe again, are we?
Bags, don't disturb me in my natural habitat.
Say hello to Mickey. The man lives for his team.
That put another hair on my chest.
And doesn't mind getting his hands dirty.
Что происходит?
Просто бьешь людей.
Сам убахался, потом пошел людей бить. Ой, бутылкой прям.
Типичный русский гопник.
We'll come back to him. You know what? Let's go with someone a bit more professional.
Ну это прям хитман какой-то.
Масочка у него красивая. Стеклянная.
Нет, это не хитман, это Джон Уик.
Да.
Ну, 100%. Так и есть.
А ты слышишь?
Музыку слышу, да.
Саундтрек из Джона Уика. Это ж прям...
Лидер хакерской группировки, это тот, который...
В первом Джона Уике этот саундтрек был.
Я не помню, как он там был. Ну, факт, суть в том, что это прям вот один в один.
Точно это же мелодия играла, когда он в этом... В первой части, да, в клубе, когда убивал.
Интересно, езду подтянули, хоть нет?
Надейся.
Да, надеюсь.
Там это какой-то ездил, как его. Джеймс Бонд видел? Что-то наподобие.
Ну, прикольно, прикольно.
Teaming with unique locales and characters has always been a central pillar of the Watch Dogs series.
So what goes into building those worlds? Here's Amanda Mutt to tell us more.
Canada.
My name's Amanda Mutt. I'm a level artist on Watch Dogs Legion at Ubisoft Toronto. Being a level artist, I think, is the coolest job in video games because we do get the freedom to kind of like pick and choose what little details we want to depict, and we get ample opportunities to tell the stories that we want to tell in the spaces that we're assigned to.
Они же там пиздец что-то уволили за последние там 2 дня, то ли 6 человек, то ли что-то такое.
In AC Unity, there was a boat somewhere in the world that was covered in cats. And then it happened again in Watch Dogs 2. And there may or may not be something in London that is a boat filled with cats in some capacity. I was fortunate enough to go to E3 last year. Some of the people that I was showing our demo to were from London, so no matter where I dropped them in the city, they'd go, oh my god, this feels like Camden, this feels like Southwark, this feels like Westminster. When people are talking about some detail that I've put into the world and they're excited about it, like that feels so good as somebody who, you know, builds these worlds with care. I love it.
Это ужас какой-то был.
And now some news for Valhalla fans. In just a few weeks, you'll be able to battle it out with your favorite legends on iOS and Android devices.
iOS, Android.
Что за Valhalla? Что это такое?
Это, ну, прикольная игра. Сложная.
3, 2, 1,
Вот, дается типа арена. Ты
можно скинуть?
С друзьями хлопиться и типа трасса, да. Нужно как можно раз больше скинуть.
Ну это, блин, Super Smash Bros.
То есть даются там, допустим, у тебя 3 жизни, и ты должен 3 раза скинуть. Чем больше ты бьешь врага, тем типа он дальше будет отлетать, и тем больше урона по нему.
Кроссплей.
И типа тут там до хрена что-то около 32 персонажей, а то и больше.
Ничего себе.
А, больше, да.
Что в августе на мобилках? Ну, ладно.
Да. Знаю, чем будет теперь на уроках заниматься. Я на пекарне немного играл, на польке еще меньше.
Это что такое?
Valhalla. Нет.
Это, наверное, настолка какая-то или что?
Плюс миллион. 100 миллион баттов.
Да ты тихо говоришь. Что это?
Не знаю, мобилка какая-то.
Да, начало презентации просто прям огонь.
Или они просто спасибо говорят людям, которые в игры их играют.
Что за Era of House? Что за, блядь, пиздец? Пойду скачаю. Era of House.
Это что за CSGO?
Это какая-то карточная херня, прикинь. Ну, у нее даже неплохие отзывы. Прикольно.
Это радуга какая-то мультяшная.
Это какая-то... Как называется? Что там выходит сейчас? Valorant этот сраный. Еще какое-то говно теперь есть. Ну хотя персонажи из радуги, да. Так это DLC типа или это отдельно какая-то херня?
Это отдельно. Видишь, как там по мультяшному выглядит? Но здесь персонажи из радуги.
Ну это понятно. Splinter Cell это... Нет, это что-то вообще непонятное.
Это новая игрушка какая-то.
Don't make me regret this.
Мобильная какая-то хреновина.
Новый Том Клэнсис.
Ой, бедный Том Клэнси.
Speaking of Tom Clancy, it's been 5 years since Rainbow Six Siege first launched, and the community has
Конкурент
never been
Valorant, да,
stronger.
на мобильных устройствах.
In celebration of this milestone, Ubisoft Montreal has put together a special video to thank all of the amazing players and developers that have helped Siege become the game it is today.
Бля, надо Siege скачать, давно в нее играл.
Бедная радуга. Сначала чуть не сдохла.
In December 2015, a small team released Rainbow Six Siege. A game built on a strong vision, creativity, competitiveness, and team play.
Pour le joueur, le 1er décembre, c'est un début.
Разговаривает на французском.
Ensuite, s'engager et dire aux joueurs, ce jeu est installé. Tu peux t'y installer aussi, et nous serons là.
That original vision was quickly adopted by our passionate community, propelling it to a whole new level.
I got it! I got it!
This is such a special moment, and being at 1-year anniversary of Rainbow Six now, game being stronger than ever, more players today than we had in the past, it means the world to us.
But we also had our share of challenges.
Health that touches upon subjects like matchmaking, connectivity, all those aspects are absolutely critical to the experience of the player.
Да, меню ужасное. А вот эта вот система их, когда вас кидает там между 3 лобби, чтобы команду собрать, это просто ужас.
There is no sequel plan, and we're here for the next 10 years, so expect more Rainbow Six in your life for quite some time.
Что происходит?
Tous les succès, c'est vraiment le résultat de autant de nous que de vous.
Разговаривать на французском происходит.
Qu'il est le nôtre, nous, l'équipe de développement.
Now 60 million players strong. We're just getting started. From the devs that build the game to the community that plays it, thank you.
Thank you. Ничего себе, они молоток дают победителю турнира.
Вот, трофей.
Как щит. International.
A few days ago, we introduced y'all to a brand new multiplayer shooter. Now, it's time to venture into the hyperscape.
А, вот еще, вот конкурент Valorant.
Hyperspace. У них же недавно...
Причем такой экшоновый довольно.
А, это этот Battle Royale, точно. Это, блядь, конкурент Fortnite. А я стримы по игре смотрел, ну реально, типа, прикольно. Меня нормально слышно вообще?
Да. Вот если ты будешь так продолжать говорить, а то когда ты, видимо, отклоняешься назад, у тебя тихо становится.
Я понял.
Ничего себе, коровы в VR.
10 billion souls living in the crush of the megacities. But the people at Prisma changed everything.
А, это типа ты... Люди прыгают в VR и там перестреливаются.
They gave everyone a way out.
Это как первому игроку приготовиться?
Да.
Да, то же самое.
Только Battle Royale.
Ничего себе.
Не, я стримы смотрел по игрушке, она реально очень клевая.
По ней?
Что?
По ней, говорю?
Да.
А что, уже где-то был геймплей прям?
Некоторых стримеров это в закрытую стримили. Стрельба, правда, ну для Ubisoft пластиковая, как всегда. Ну, сама игра очень динамичная. Там всякие способности есть, которые ты можешь комбинировать.
Орех, короче, понятно.
Не те способности. Типа на одного человека ты берешь там две способности. Допустим, рывок вперед и прыжок вверх. И ты их, типа, их взаимодействуешь вместе. Плюс еще какие-то, ну, свои. В общем, ты бегаешь по уровню, собираешь для себя способности. Карты разбросанные. И, допустим, вот ты соберешь две способности в один слот, и у тебя эта способность прокачается до 2-го уровня. И там появятся бонусы, в общем, там много способностей, которые, типа, ты должен сам придумать, как комбинировать их, чтобы тебе интересно играть было.
Сам придумай, короче, как тебе весело будет.
Допустим, у тебя есть там рывок вверх и мина какая-то, ты можешь, типа, подпрыгнуть вверх, бросить мину и начать дальше стрелять.
Я понял.
It's in a future where humanity has grown a little darker. One of the companies there, they are launching what's called the Hyperscape, which is a virtual world and the internet of the future. It's the place where everything converges. Within the virtual world, there is a battle royale that takes place in the virtual city of Neo Arcadia.
О, там даже ножики есть.
Там оружие очень прикольное.
Then we also introduce a lot of new things. You get the opportunity to do parkour on the rooftops, to go into interiors where it's much more narrow, much more
По
stressful.
крышам прыгать
You get
можно,
to
это
go to
тоже
the
охуенно,
landmarks
то
where
есть
there's
там
more opportunities to get cool items, but also more players, so it's a risk-reward kind of deal. We introduce the notion of hacks, special abilities that you can pick up on the fly to adapt your tactics. With hacks, you can do things like
Ну вот он
teleport
рассказывает.
yourself, you can wrap yourself into a
Про
ball and bounce
способности.
around the battlefield. So a lot of abilities that let you have fun, that are toys that you can play with.
То есть, да, ты типа сам придумаешь для себя геймплей. Для способностей. Тебе просто дают способности, и там с ними развлекаешься, как хочешь.
So things like changing the gravity, infinite ammo, or stuff like that. So players, while this happens, really have to adapt to all kinds of stuff that is happening. So for me, it's really exciting because right now,
В плане стрельбы она хуже Апекса, но в плане динамичности интереснее. Если ты в Апексе будешь бегать и не найдешь себе ни одного противника за раунд, здесь ты постоянно с кем-то перестреливаешься. Но стрельба очень пластиковая.
Открытая бета на PC. Стартует.
Как бы музыку ты слышишь, как идет. И она вроде бы во время игры играет, то есть биты вот такие классные.
Ну так-то будет прикольно. Только я не понял, все умирают с одного выстрела или что это? Или это они телепортируются так?
Есть оружие, которое убивает с одного выстрела, а есть которые, вот, ну видишь, он вверх подбухает. Здесь можно невидимым стать там на время, допустим. Вроде бы даже есть способность, типа ты ее активируешь и просто оказываешься за спиной врага. Гены вон разные, как в Overwatch мои. Здесь дохуя способностей. Прямо очень много.
Open бета на ПК.
Бля, когда на плаян? Хочу на плойку.
Да, вот я боюсь, что на геймпаде будет печальненько.
The digital world of the Hyperscape gave our artists and developers incredible freedom when it came to designing characters.
С Орехом тоже боялись, что будет печально на
геймпаде. В Overwatch, допустим, неудобно.
My name is Anna Maria Muska. I'm the production manager for characters and weapons on Hyperscape. We have paid an exceptional amount of detail to our characters. We switch different outfits, different fashion statements, different tattoos, different materials until we see them as real individuals, as real people. So the second you pick a character, you see them in game, you understand what their motivations are and what drives them and what challenges them. This was the first lineup of characters. This is our default base, but even starting from the hair down, everything has been meticulously thought of. Would this person actually like this type of outfit? Would this person enjoy the type of tattoos that we're putting on them? Will they actually like to be in this body? Each season, we plan to produce new outfits for these characters. So we're hoping some of our players are gonna see the effort and maybe even correlate some of the accessories to what's gonna happen in the game.
Лутбоксы, батлпассы.
Батлпасс в наше время это уже обыденное дело.
As we move into the next generation of gaming, Ubisoft has
Это
been
не
working
значит, что
closely with
это
console makers
хорошо.
to take advantage of all the
Это
extraordinary
новая
capabilities
реальность, к которой
these
нужно
new consoles
привыкать.
will offer.
Now we have a special guest to
Знаешь,
tell us
это
a
как
little
подписка
more.
на Netflix.
Ну нет, это не то.
О!
With Watch Dogs
Это ж
Legion,
наш парень.
Ubisoft is supporting smart delivery. So you will get the absolute best version of the game on any version of Xbox you're playing on. On Series X, you'll get to take advantage of the amazing work the team has
Это он
done
типа
with
рекламирует
DirectX ray
Xbox?
tracing.
Да, типа она будет этот. Ну, ты покупаешь один раз и играешь на и там, если что.
Знаешь, а тем временем PlayStation.
Да, я думаю, там тоже будет.
Сидите тихо. Нет, на прошлых же конференциях мы смотрели, там же тоже был Фил Спенсер рекламировал Xbox. А PlayStation нигде не рекламировал.
And I can't wait for you to see the gameplay from Assassin's Creed Valhalla that's coming up now.
All right. We know you've been waiting to hear more about this game since it was announced back in April. And now it's time for a
Да, уже показали все, что можно было.
My name is
Без них.
Ferrier, and I'm the producer of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So a couple of weeks ago, we announced Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and the reaction from the fans was just amazing. The time period of Vikings is really, really inspiring.
Типа в первом Assassin's Creed они убрали арбалет за спиной, типа чтобы была историческая хрень. Потому что в первом Assassin's типа не было арбалета. В трейлере был арбалет, в игре его не было.
Ну да, было такое.
А потом, знаешь, внизу типа Valhalla, Афровикинг.
Стопудов будет.
The team went to Norway and England to take the same roads that the Vikings did, to really experience what it meant to be a Viking at that time. And then leaving Norway, which is barren but majestic, and just coming by boat in England and see those rolling green hills full of sheep, full of life, is just this moment that most likely the Vikings felt as well. You need to see this land of opportunity. And this is exactly the
Знаешь, давайте займемся изучением истории и разработкой игры. Не, мы будем, блять, жрать какие-то мясо, плавать на лодках.
Personal adventure, you know, it is the story of Eivor, a Viking chieftain. Eivor is either a male or a female. You decide.
Либо мужчина, либо женщина.
They will have to leave Norway to settle in England because you just can't live in Norway anymore. There's too much political pressure, no resources available. Obviously, in England, it's full of Anglo-Saxons and other people, and they don't really want you there. So you will have to fight your way there to kind of build your own settlement and see your clan prosper.
Что нужно будет строить деревню?
Vikings were brutal warriors. And the fact that they were mastering a lot of weapons coming from the medieval times really inspired us to kind of revamp the fight system, to leverage the brutality and the intensity of Viking combat.
Только как это все вяжется с ассасинами, которые вроде как...
Fighting face to face. They were masters of stealth and deception when needed. They used basically any sort of tactics they could use to win the battle. So we want to portray the full range of combat that you can imagine coming from the Vikings.
Oops.
Неужели скрытый клинок появился?
Да.
Be able to show you the game we're all been working on. So please enjoy this deep dive into Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Valhalla.
In Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you will relive the epic saga of the Viking invasion of England. You play as Eivor, a Viking from Norway.
Слушай, ну ее перерисовали, это не та девка, которая была... А, нет, та, ладно. Грустно.
To build a thriving Norse settlement in a hostile land.
For the good of our clan, it is time we go a Viking. Today we raid, that tomorrow we may build.
England is a dark age tangle of broken kingdoms and warring dynasties, a land of opportunity and riches. As you prowl England's rivers by longship, you may raid locations you spot from the shoreline. Ground your ship and blow your horn to lead your raiding crew into battle.
Ну блин, это же Одиссея прям один в один.
Сеттинг другой.
Да,
Я, кстати,
ну...
Одиссею не прошел, блин. Диск купил и не прошел. Обидно.
Да, я-то прошел в том-то беда.
Your crew will assist you in all your raids.
Здесь деревню можно будет строить, скорее всего.
Battering down doors and stealing cargo too
Это
heavy
то,
for
чего бы
one
мне
set
хотелось в
barrels.
Одиссее.
Whatever riches and resources you pillage may be used to develop your settlement, giving you access
Ну да,
to
походу
useful
вон, видишь,
services,
что-то застраивается.
better tools, and new settlers.
Улучшать
At the
здания.
heart of your settlement
Что-то
is the
подобное
Alliance
было в
map.
Black Flag.
It will serve as a record of the allies
Там
you've
типа
made,
остров свой
and a guide for
отстраивал.
future
Но там
opportunities.
было очень малое количество зданий.
The
Там
Viking
3-4
Age was a
здания
time
можно
of
построить.
warriors and legends.
Здесь прям, походу,
In
саму
Valhalla,
деревню нужно.
you will find the largest variety of enemies ever assembled in an Assassin's Creed game.
Перекаты через спину. Этого
Every
не было в
archetype
Одиссее.
offers a unique challenge. Some will coordinate with their allies for special attacks, while others will use nearby objects to their advantage, including the bodies of fallen warriors.
Мне кажется, или интеллект
To
стал
face these
получше.
attacks, you must find and exploit your opponent's weaknesses to gain the upper hand. Take
Чем
the
в
fight to your
Одиссее.
foes with a host of brutal new combat abilities. Snare them with the Viking harpoon.
Мне кажется, что они окончательно хуй забили на каких-то скрытных
Incapacitate them with the new
ассасинов.
stunning system to keep
Все,
them at a distance.
старого ассасина уже не
Or
вернуть.
finish them off.
Это тупо гринд.
Dual wield any two weapons you wish to unleash a deadly combination of attacks.
Это, давайте, ведьмак с клинком.
Ага.
Customize your fighting style as you see fit and become a legendary Viking warrior.
А, можно два разных оружия в 2 руки набрать.
Это хлысты прикольные вроде бы.
All combinations of weapons are available to dual wield.
Знаешь, я помню,
including two
в этом
shields.
в прототипе втором хлыст был.
Да и в первом тоже был.
Да, я не играл в первого.
Not
Ого,
all
мясо
situations
сколько.
call for
О,
violence.
стелс.
In this new land, a Viking must find a way to adapt.
О, а-ля
As
первая
Eivor is
часть.
not welcome in
Мгм.
England. You may need to
Они решили
outsmart
подмазаться
enemies,
так к фанатам,
avoiding
типа,
unwanted attention
вот
in
смотрите,
towns and bustling
мы
cities.
вернули.
Вы можете стать монахом.
Мы вернули элемент.
Use Eivor's hood and cloak to blend with crowds and slip past watchful eyes. An unseen hunter among the people.
И ну видишь, социальный стелс.
From capital cities and villages to the dense forests and rolling hills of England, exploration is vital to keeping yourself sharp. You must feed off the land if you hope to endure. Hunt and forage to replenish
Охота,
your health and
рыбалка.
fortify your equipment.
Нихера себе волк.
Search pagan temples and Roman ruins for new activities and challenges to strengthen yourself
Бля.
and your settlement.
Орлиное зрение.
The more you explore, the more of England's secrets you will reveal.
Или это ведьмачье чутье.
Ага.
But as you push deeper into England, the enemy will push back. In a series of climactic moments, Assassin's Creed Valhalla will feature massive assaults in which you will lead Eivor's army
Ну вот эти вот осады, конечно, прикольно.
against heavily guarded Saxon fortresses.
We will reclaim her. Today we fight for your land. And
Ну, в
tomorrow
Одиссее же они
we
были.
rebuild.
Окей.
Assassin's
Схватки
Creed
40 на 40.
Valhalla will transport you to wondrous and haunted lands.
Ну да, там были просто тупо схватки.
And
А тут
England's pagan
прикольно.
roots. It will challenge and surprise
Забивные.
with unforgettable characters, thrilling triumphs, and tragic losses, giving you the chance to live your own Viking saga.
Ой,
Разные
будет
времена
больше
года.
геймплея в пост-шоу покажут еще. Ну и давайте.
9th century England is truly unlike
Форс.ру
anything the
6.
franchise has seen before.
Кого?
Assassin's Creed Valhalla
Far Cry
will
6.
release this holiday season on Xbox Series X,
Я
PlayStation
вот в
5,
третий начал перед
Xbox One,
трансляцией играть.
PS4, PC, and Stadia.
О, написано.
We're
О,
close to wrapping up
отлично.
today,
Я
but
еще
before we
успею
go,
поиграть
our
на этом
CEO,
поколении.
Yves Guillemot, is here to share a few words.
I hope you will have enjoyed what you have seen today, and that you will love playing these games. I'm proud of our teams for delivering an ambitious, broad, and creative lineup of games. And we haven't shown you everything yet. In fact, we have a lot more to come. So you will have another Ubisoft Forward to reveal even more about our upcoming games. But before ending this show, we have one more thing to share with you.
Так. Что это?
Дракон какой-то. Нет, не Far Cry.
Да, может и Far Cry.
Может какой-то новый проект.
Far Cry.
А, ну да. Да. А это типа уже подтвердили, это еще догадки, что типа вот в шестом Far Cry там вас стоит на этом.
Не подтверждали еще. Ну и... Я не знаю, правда это или нет.
Ну, шрам очень похож. Типа... О, это у меня в доме холодильник такой. Знаешь, там шоколадные золотые сливки. Либерта. Бля, я как раз в третий начал играть перед трансляцией. Сколько они еще будут клепать этот Far Cry?
Нихера себе тут музычек.
Пацанский рэп.
Угу.
Цветы в вазе, говно в унитазе.
It's beautiful, amigo. Perfect, but useless. I have something for you, Diego. Give me your hands.
Диего еще зовут, это не вас.
Ну, может, ребенок класса.
The grenade is simple. It has 4 basic parts. The shell, which contains the explosive, the fuse, the handle, and of course, the pin.
What are you doing?
Breathe, Diego. Breathe. The pin simply holds the handle in place. It is only when you let go that this grenade goes boom. Follow me. Now, I am El Presidente, which means that someday you will be El Presidente. And our people, they do not know how to be happy. They are torn apart by opinions, noise, indecision, strangled by their own freedoms. And even if you have love in your heart, even if you want what's best for them, if you only want to save them from themselves.
Ну это уже опять наше время получается, да?
Ну да.
They will hate you, Diego. Everything you say, do, believe.
И город здоровенный какой-то.
Зажигалка классная у него.
Угу.
They will answer you with screams. Call you evil. A monster. And give you this. So you tell me, are you evil? Are you a monster? Because our country is like this grenade, except it has two basic parts. Our people and you must clutch them nice and tight, or we all go boom. Do you understand now? Prove it.
Блин, я думал, хоть тут покажут. В сливе тоже тут закончилось. Оказывается, был полный трейлер.
2-го, 18-го, 21-го. Прикольно.
And with that,
Нормально.
we're wrapping up our first Ubisoft Forward. Today, we've seen the next generation of Assassin's Creed, the birth of a resistance in Watch Dogs Legion, the cyber chaos of Hyperscape, and the epic reveal of Far Cry's newest installment, along with so much more.
Remember, we'll be back later this year with another Ubisoft Forward filled with tons of game news and updates.
Thanks for joining us.
Ну, такое. Чё-то я думал, тут прям круто все будет.
Еще чуть-чуть это показывает.
А, ну сосед еще будет показывать.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Ubisoft Forward post show. My name is Yusuf McGee, and this is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We're going to take a deep dive into about 30 minutes of gameplay, and we're joined by a very special guest here.
Hey everyone, this is Philippe Bergeron, otherwise known as Fizz. I am the quest director on Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
So Fizz, we're setting up here for what looks like an epic encounter. Tell us exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, so here we're midway through the quest that we're showing for UB Forward. Here we're looking at the assault of Berg Castle. So these are big moments that usually sort of culminate at the end of the story. And so here Eivor, our Viking raider, is taking a group of raiders and Fyrds into Berg Castle to go and take down Rued and his clan.
So who exactly is Rued, and why does Eivor sort of want to pick a fight with him?
Basically, Rued comes into play about halfway through this story.
Там еще стрельбабишь какая-то по конечностям желтым подсвечивается.
Rued basically caused a lot of turmoil within the territory, and Oswald, who's the sort of elderman to be to inherit this territory, needs your help to take him down. Oswald having just been defeated in a previous quest, and so here this is revenge, but also accomplishing your ultimate goal.
So Fizz, as you're talking, we're seeing some of the combat of Valhalla. Can you tell us a little bit about the changes to combat this time around?
We wanted to basically add a lot of new mechanics to it. So we added like some dual wielding for the player, like a stun system in there. And we really needed to do this to sort of portray that sort of the brutality that comes with being a Viking. This nature sort of fits into that the time and the character.
Да уж ткань-то, блядь. Запарили без нее.
Oswald, he lives. Oswald lives!
Eivor, is that you? Shut your ass, twig spine.
Here, Eivor has taken her entire army through the assault, and finally, it's revealed that our Elderman, our ally, Oswald, is still alive, and Rued has him captive.
So this is what it comes to, Wolfkist? 2 Danes fighting over a filthy Saxon whoreson? If this swine is your prize, come and get him!
So now that we've seen that Oswald is alive, we have Rued within our sights. What's the next step here?
So the next move for Eivor is to finally face off against Rued. She has her allies, they can take care of the rest of the army. Now it's time to go one-on-one against Rued in one of our boss battles, actually.
Your battle is not yet won, Oswald.
And it's worth pointing out, actually, that here what we're showing is the player going and facing off against Rued aggressively, but we tend to always have to support a 360-degree approach in these things. So the player could have approached this a little bit more stealthily and gotten at least like a good critical hit on either Rued or his wolf, and so you can play this a little bit more strategically if that's your playstyle.
So we're not only fighting Rued here, but also his pet wolf, right?
Here, one of my preferred strategies is to eliminate the wolf first, just focus fire on him. It takes at least one opponent out of the combat. Now, Rued will have extra abilities that come into play if you do eliminate his wolf, but I think having one opponent less in the battlefield makes for a good strategy in the whole.
Что-то он отхватывает, по-моему.
For all your efforts, only the cold dark of Niflheim awaits you.
Valhalla is my destiny. That fate will not be met today. Riders, they should be roomed, wolf-kissed. Made thralls, not treated as equals. We are better than this, than all of them.
Do not drag me down to the sewage you wallow in.
Что у нее с голосом?
Again, fight tooth and nail for a sanction. You'd throw in with these wastrels, these arrogant swine?
Eivor, no! He should be tried before God, a lawful assembly.
Alright, so we've defeated Rued, we freed Oswald. What comes next?
Oswald, in this case, prefers for Rued to be kept alive, and so you basically have to choose: are you going to go against his witches, or
Можно
stay true
выбрать
to your
убить или оставить живых.
So we have this choice to make, but before we get into that, I want to rewind a little bit because we just did this big, grand assault, but Eivor couldn't have done it alone. She clearly had to recruit some folks along the way, get some troops, get some allies. So let's actually rewind and see how we went about first gathering those troops.
Right, so when coming up to an assault, it's a game of numbers. Eivor can go into pretty much any location and be a stealthy Viking, eliminating some of the assets, which ultimately would be a strategy. You can do that, and you'll have some of the ingredients or of the assets there that will have been sabotaged, but you still need an army. So here what we're seeing is Eivor going around the countryside and raising what we call a fyrd, which is the men and the women of the territory who come up and fight in the name of a king. So here Eivor is going around and trying to convince people to fight in the name of Oswald to finally take down the oppressor that is Rued.
Defending East Anglia, defending you. Will you not do the same?
What? Die in defense of a lost cause?
Yeah, so she's really using like the image and like the leadership that Oswald had, what he meant to the people. In his name, she's going to recruit these people.
Pretty words, Dane. But the men of Theovard have their own battles to fight.
So we're told by this Reeve that there are troops, there are allies that he could add to our cause, but first we sort of need to do him a favor, is that right?
Yeah, so obviously these people have been run down by Rued and the impact he's had on the territory, so
Они
I
говорят,
think a
что
lot of
можно,
these people
типа,
have
будут
sort of
реакции,
lost
как в
hope.
Ведьмаке.
And so you need to
Ну,
show
типа,
them
несколько
that there is
развитий
hope. And so
событий.
here Eivor is basically helping them take
Это
back one of
интересно.
their prized locations
Да, но насколько это
by
будет,
taking a couple men and
типа,
raiding a
развито.
nearby township, basically taking it back for the people and showing that there's a reason to continue fighting and then get them on your side. When Eivor does this, obviously you have access to a full suite of abilities.
А топоры накидает, они потом обратно сами возвращаются, да?
You have some brutal axe throwing in there. You have archery or like range combat abilities in there as well. So really, again, like depending on what your playstyle is, you can customize your loadout and go in there how you wish.
Fizz, we just saw this giant pulse go out. What exactly was that?
So that is what we call the Odin sight. The Odin sight is basically our interpretation of the eagle vision from previous games, and we thought it was good to sort of bring that back. It's basically Eivor's intuition. It's how she perceives the world. When the player uses that, it'll highlight basically interactive objects, like things that will bring her an advantage. So we'll have arrows, like health consumables that are in there. So it really is like a good way of sort of understanding the world and showing you like things that you can go and touch.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of things we can touch, we just picked up this awesome new weapon.
It's something we wanted to play with on Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where we have fewer weapons in the game, but you can invest in them more, so they become your weapon. And so depending on what your preferred playstyle is or your preferred weapon type, then you can go and choose, I'm gonna fight with this weapon and invest heavily into that.
Not only are we looting weapons, but we see something here called the Book of Knowledge. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
They unlock skills for the players. So here you can see the Valkyrie dive that has just been unlocked. We have these spread out throughout the world. So again, to promote exploration and discovery. As you travel through the world and you explore locations, you can find these books that will add abilities that you can go and invest in, put into your loadout, then go into the different locations or the different quests in the game and use those depending on what your playstyle is.
Now we've recaptured this village, we've secured more troops for our assault. Let's jump back now and figure out what we want to do with Rued.
The rightful king of East Anglia has spared your life today, and so it will be.
Compassion is a virtue suited for anyone, Eivor, including you. Thank you.
Eivor decided to let him live. Rued is really angry about that. Being a Norse Viking, being put to the death in battle is your road to Valhalla, so he was basically denied access to Valhalla in this situation. Obviously, all of these decisions come into play later on in the game, so we have very difficult decisions for the player to make. We didn't want to have easy decisions.
Yeah, you know, when I was playing, I decided to listen to Oswald and spare Rued's life, but what exactly is the relationship like between Eivor and Oswald?
So the relationship between Eivor and Oswald is an alliance. It's basically Eivor is surrounded by territories that initially getting into England are hostile towards her, and obviously if you want to set up a new settlement, you want to make sure that your neighbor is friendly. So here in East Anglia, Oswald is the man for the job.
Oswald более женственный, чем эта главная героиня.
Would help her sort of secure her territory. So earlier on to the territory, Eivor comes in here, meets Oswald. The problems he had with Rued are sort of put to light, and going through the arc, you basically help him deal with Rued and aligning basically Danes with Saxons in one territory.
So, Fizz, we've completed the assault, we've gotten our hands dirty with some combat, taken down Rued. We have this big open region of East Anglia, so before we head off to Oswald's wedding, what do you say we head out, have some fun, and see what we can get into in the open world?
That sounds great.
So we see a cat here with a speech bubble above it, and you best believe if you let me talk to a cat, I'm gonna talk to a cat.
Кошки?
Yeah, these are some of our some of my favorite moments actually in the game, where we put out a whole bunch of events throughout the territory. And it sort of rewards, again, exploration, going around. It's a chance for us also to sort of showcase a different side of Eivor. A lot of them sort of deal more with like politics and warfare, and this shows us slightly more human nature to her. So it permits us to explore that character a little bit more. And so here, basically, like you're trying to help a kid with his cat, and ultimately get that cat to sort of join your crew as a cat raider.
You just said cat raider way too casually. You're telling me I could have a cat Viking raider on my longship?
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
Oh my god, yes, I love it. Perfect.
So yeah, as you're riding around the rivers of England, you would see a cat basically walking around your longship, keeping your Viking raiders company.
You know, speaking of the Viking longship, we're seeing some of that gameplay here now. Can you talk a little bit about how that works and functions in Valhalla?
Yeah, so starting out on this project, I think the Viking longship is one of the biggest images that we all have when we think about Vikings in our game. And so Vikings had this awesome design for longship that had a very shallow hull, so it permitted them to go very far inland very quickly, and you could basically disembark Viking raiders like on pretty much any shore. We added that into the game where you can basically sail up to any location and just decide to disembark with your guys and raid a location, loot all its treasure, get back in the ship, and then continue sailing down the river to your next opportunity.
So I know past Assassin's Creed games allowed for songs and things like that to be sung on ships. Will Valhalla have a similar version of that?
Yeah, so this is something we actually wanted the crew of your ship to become like your home away from home. So we added stories and songs into the ship. So basically, as the player is going around, you could decide to have your skald sort of sing a song for you as you row down the river. But you can also decide, depending on who the raiders are in your ship, to hear more about their life. So you can actually queue up stories, and they'll give you a little bit more background on who they are. So you get to know your sort of fighters as you're traveling around the world, which is a cool moment.
So here we're seeing a bit of a different view. What exactly are we looking at?
We had this on previous Assassins where you would like ride on your horse and you could pull out, have the horse sort of follow the track. We have a similar thing for the ship where you can put up your sails, it's cruise control for the ship, so you can pull back, take in the scenery, listen to some songs or some stories, and just take it all in.
Они наехали на нее лодкой, но она все равно взлетела.
So, you know, speaking of Viking songs, we have an activity here that's not exactly singing, but kind of related, right?
Yeah, so here what we have is what we call flighting, which was an activity that Norse people would partake in. They would like to have a battle of wits and sort of poetry, where insults would be thrown back and forth between each other. The idea was to try and have a good insult, but also to have a good rhythm and a good rhyme in there. So it's basically a precursor to rap battles.
Here's the silver. Now begin.
To all those whom I speak, they say Eivor's a clod.
Then you're speaking to fools and their knowledge is flawed.
Well,
how exactly do you go about being successful in one of these?
The trick behind a good flight was to choose the right insult, identifying the right cadence, and then trying to find what rhymed the best.
I'm known for my might.
Interesting. Silent whispers all claim that you're terribly dense.
Then you've clearly misheard them. My wit is immense.
Oh, you looked out with that one. Well, what a surprise. Eivor of the Raven Clan is a true talent. I'm shocked.
Don't believe everything you hear, unless it touches on my flighting. Then heed every word.
Take the coin.
So now that we've proven our sharp tongue and wit, I think it's time for a bit more relaxing activity. So we're fishing here.
Yeah, that's it. So we gave Eivor a fishing line, so you can actually throw out a line and go catch some fish. This is used basically to play into our new health loop, where the player will lose health in the world, and it doesn't automatically generate like we have in the past. So you actually have to go out and get some supplies. So you'll find mushrooms and some food that you can gather. But here, like you can also catch some fish and consume that to regain some health. We also will sometimes have it in certain quests, so it's a good way to sort of chill out on the side of the water and just again take it all in. So this is what we call one of our offering altars. So the idea is that you find these around the world and you make offerings to it. So it'll take like animal parts and stuff that you can find throughout the world. Here what you're seeing though is sort of like a fancy version of it, where as you do your offering you get interrupted by some kids that basically come and steal your stuff. So it's just a way for us to sort of showcase that like the systems and the activities in the world can sort of play in with some quests and some little events. So it's our way to sort of dress up these moments and make it all fit inside the whole experience.
Yeah, this seemed like a really sort of unexpected turn for what I thought was going to be kind of a simple interaction.
Yeah, and it's really what we were trying to do with these events is to give another dimension to Eivor, other than just the pure rar Viking or the politician. Because you can imagine at some point that we'll grow old if you're always telling that person the characters. It lets us really go into the depth of who is Eivor, what motivates her, how she can interact with the world outside of warfare and politics. And it also showcases like a different facet of the world at the same time. It's not only Eivor, so it just widens the breadth of the stories that we can tell.
So who exactly are these two children?
These are kids of East Anglia. They are going through tough times with whatever Rudid's been doing to the territory. And so they're just here trying to survive and basically exploit the people that are there to make offerings.
It was kind of nice to see that Eivor wasn't really necessarily upset at them for stealing, and after you talk to them, you have the choice of helping them. You can give them food, give them some money, or maybe just say, hey, good luck, on your way.
Yeah, and then this is something we also wanted to do a lot. Like, so here we're doing an event, we do it in quests as well, but we want to give a lot of this agency into players' hands so that they can sort of shape Eivor a little bit. Who she is, so it represents them a little bit more, and they can roleplay that a little bit better. And again, it just gives her like a little bit more humanity in these moments.
This is what large walkers should do. Provide for small walkers.
Here, large walker.
A necklace.
Yes, it's a St. Martin seal. You're welcome here anytime, large walker.
Почему у него лицо в говне? А, это грязь.
Take care now, small green walkers.
So I think AC veterans might recognize this here, but what exactly is Eivor chasing down?
Yeah, so here you're seeing Eivor running down one of our tattoo images. So this is challenging the player on free run abilities.
Это эти листовки, которые были в 4-м Ассасине, мне бесили.
Кто? Листовки?
Да, которые листочки летают, вот эти вот. В Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag были такие же листочки, только они были с песнями морскими. И ты должен был за ними гоняться.
Fizz, one of my favorite things when I was just out there exploring East Anglia was coming upon a house or a building and realizing that there was a chest inside, but that there was no easy way in. And in this case, I saw all the doors were barred, but I knew that because there was a chest in there must have been some way to get inside. So I went around the back and,
Ебать, как прикольно придумано.
Yeah, I'm glad you actually caught on to that. You're pointing at something that we wanted to work on a lot on Valhalla, where we wanted the exploration to make you feel smarter. So we played a lot with puzzle solving, so making sure that every house that you find sort of appeals to you, like it draws your attention, and then when you want to come and explore it, it's not given to you. You still have to work for a little bit, so it'll challenge you on your observation skills, logic, just trying to find how do I get into this. So we play a lot with level design, quest design to offer challenges to players, and you basically come out of it like with a better feeling for the exploration, but you also get to see more of a story behind any of these locations which we've crafted. So it gave us a little bit more time to sort of slow down the experience and tell a different version of a story.
Ой, короче, бегай, собирай всякие листики, чтобы получить полный мир.
A poor victim of someone's fury.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about exploration and just finding things out in the world, I was just wandering and came across this clearing and found this kind of morbid altar.
Yeah, so this is one of our bigger events that we have scattered in the world. So as Eivor explores, she can find altars like this, and by interacting with them, here it's a trap that's been set by this character named Regan. Now, there's a bigger story behind all this. There's multiple steps to it later on. So this is one of the moments. It permits us to go into a slightly more mystical realm and play with a boss fight that has more magical abilities, if we will. And basically have this awesome boss fight in the middle of the swamps. And so here the abilities that you see Regan using are a little bit on the mystical side of things. What's happening is Eivor at the beginning in that trap is poisoned, and so she starts sort of hallucinating, seeing the world in a sort of different light and filter. And so that's sort of what lets us go into the realm of the weird.
My rage, spirit of my father's rage, fill me!
Enough cracking and punching. Arrest your demons.
So we just saw here that Regan belongs to something called the Daughters of Lyrium.
Yeah, that's correct. By finding the other daughters, you'll get a little bit more backstory on who they are, so we don't want to spoil that too much. But it creates like a sort of greater story that is not on the main path in any way, but it's still very rich and adds to the lore of this world and actually plays into history.
So we just had a really exciting, really intense boss battle.
Что-то было за битва с какой-то аборигенкой.
Here it's all about
Не знаю, она что-то съела, ее куда-то что-то помутнело и обидеться начала.
So Eivor, as she explores the world, will find these sort of meditative areas where you have a pile of rocks that you could just stack on top of one another using physics. And I mean, yeah, the ultimate goal is to try and get the highest pile of rocks, but really it's about taking in the sights, relaxing, taking a step back, and just building something.
Together we stack stones into cairns.
These?
Yes. Think of this as a test of mind and wit. Stack the cairn stones high and wide into any shape you like.
I mean, you can spend as much time as you want building these things, making them as high as you want, as weird as you want. I'm sure, like, a lot of these stuff will end up on the internet, like people comparing.
Знаешь, раньше игрушка была на кнопочный телефон, там не нужно было здание строить. Этаж за этажом просто выстраивать.
Это же на веревочках болтались.
Да. Ну вот, то же самое. Только адаптировано в современной игре.
We've met some children, we've broken into a house, we fought a boss, we built a cairn. I think now it's finally time to go and head off to the wedding.
Yeah, so this is the moment it's all been building up to. By the moment you get into the territory, sort of like mentioned by Oswald, that he's trying to get married with his Dane lady. And so as you go through the arc, that's sort of like the underlying thread. Really, it's about Rued creating turmoil in the territory and helping Oswald sort of get above that and show that he's a good leader. And so you finally, after going through all of that arc, finally get these two together, go through their wedding, and you're invited to attend the ceremony. And then all the activities and fun times that comes afterwards.
Yeah, as much as we've seen the brutal side of England, it's nice to see, the joyous side of it as well.
Yeah, and it's something we really wanted to play on in Valhalla, where being a Viking is not only about being a raider or warrior. I mean, there's revelry, there's feasting, there's partying that goes, and like if someone knows how to party, it's a Viking. And so here, this is one of our opportunities to sort of show what a sort of Viking gathering is. And what's cool here is it's a good alliance of Norse culture with Saxon culture, sort of smashing those two things together, and building bridges.
Yeah, I mean, what's a wedding without some drunk archery, right?
Yeah, so like anything can happen in a
Что за
Viking event,
челленджи?
right? Eivor, yeah, here you just get
Бухим,
drunk,
кто больше
shoot some
разобьет в
arrows.
свете.
А, вот что камера шатается. Они набуханные.
Ну, они же пиво перед этим выпили.
Не понял.
yourself for the wedding race. The king and his bride against all. My king. He.
So here we see the decision I made to spare Ruid came back to bite us.
Yep, that's the decision you made, coming back. So as we said before, all of your decisions have consequences, and this is a big one.
I challenge you. I accept.
You're basically presented with the option to sort of step in for Oswald, fight the fight for him, or let him go and fight his own fight.
Yeah, you know, personally, I chose to fight myself because I thought Eivor is the type of person who likes to finish what she started.
Plank by plank, and a dead king cannot keep his oaths. Let me finish this.
Oswald, you gutless Irish swine! I'll slay the wolf-kissed, then hang you with your own tongue.
How does this encounter with Ruid differ from our previous fight with him?
So at this point,
На
you've
ебении
eliminated
все
his
давай
wolf,
драться.
so it's just him, and so he's
да.
angry at this point, and so he will start using his
Весело
big
играть
gun
будет.
abilities like fairly earlier on in the fight. So it's way more vicious, way faster. There's less strategy. He goes literally swords blazing at you, and so this is a fight to the death. And of course here, like, this is a decision you made to go and fight him, but there's multiple outcomes to this scenario. You could have let Oswald fight his own fight, and prove basically his station as the rightful leader. If you had eliminated Rued, obviously this would not have happened. It would have been a slightly more joyous occasion. But ultimately, in all scenarios, you still have an alliance with Oswald. He's proven to be the right leader for this territory, and to be a good ally for you.
A great service. I promised you an alliance, and now you have it.
And one day I will need you to make good on that alliance.
So we're about to take off from the wedding, but Eivor decides it's a good idea to check up on her friend Finner.
Yeah, so Finner is probably one of the more recurring characters in this arc. You get to meet him very early on. He's a very endearing character, sort of used to have a Viking life, sort of misses it, and going through all these adventures together is sort of like lights that fire back, and so he's willing to join you in your raiders. So he's one of many raiders that you'll encounter in the game, and you can sort of recruit, bring back home, and then have them sort of join you on your adventures on Longship. He can tell you these stories that we're telling you about. You get to know a little bit more about him. So again, it's a fun way to sort of discover more about these characters that you meet and bring them along for adventures.
Together.
I'll gather my things.
Well, folks, we've come to the end of our Assassin's Creed Valhalla playthrough. Fizz, thank you so much for joining us. When and where can people play it?
Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be out on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, and is coming to Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PC, and Stadia on November 17th.
Теперь будут Hyperspace тут показывать. Hyperscape.
Походу, да.
everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name is Eric Pope. I'm the senior community developer on Hyperscape.
And I'm Graham
Походу,
Jennings. I'm the senior producer on Hyperscape. Hyperscape's now in its open beta.
официальное шоу закончилось.
Play and download it directly.
So,
Я
a
не
little
думаю,
while
что это
back, we
можно
recorded
продолжать
a
смотреть
match
в
for
таком
you, so
режиме.
walk through it moment to moment, explain what's going on throughout a match of Hyperscape. There's a lot going on with hacks, guns, the gameplay. So Graham and I are going to walk you through it right now, and I hope you'll enjoy it.
So at the start now, you'll see the insertion phase. There's the three of them in the squad, so they're trying to decide,